Skylights are something a lot of builders have grown to hate. You've got the leaks, the complaints, the lost time. For years, the industry was just the same band-aid solutions on a problem that never actually got fixed. And I just got tired of that answer. I'm Jono from Luxweld. We've built Australia's most advanced welded skylight flashing system to help builders reduce leaks and defects and warranty headaches. In this episode, I want to take you behind the scenes, how we built the product the industry said was impossible, and why that became the start of Luxweld. A few years ago, I was standing on a roof looking at another failed skylight flashing, and I just remember standing there thinking, how is no one addressing these issues? It wasn't the first one that I'd seen. It was the same kind of issues showing up again and again and again. And no one was addressing it. The silicon breaking down due to the powder coating or bad applications, joints being exposed, water, it then finds the tiniest path, and that little trickle of water can do a lot of damage. And the frustrating part was everyone seemed to treat it like it was just part of the way things are done. They leak, you patch them, they're fine. Builders get complaints, someone goes back, adds a bit more silicon. Ceiling gets repaired, everyone moves on until the next one. But that's not how it should be. And it never really sat right with me. You know, at my core, we look at how people matter, and giving them a defective product doesn't show that they matter. Because when a skylight fails, it's not just a product problem, it becomes a builder problem, homeowner problem, an installer problem. There's a repair, a callback, reputation issues, and another job that should have been finished but suddenly isn't. And I just couldn't understand why the industry answer was just the same. Assume it's the install area, patch it, and hope it holds and move on. So at the start, I didn't set out to create Luxweld. I didn't wake up one day thinking, oh, I'm going to go and build a new skylight flashing. The first step was just a lot simpler than that. There was a problem right in front of me, and I wanted someone to fix that existing problem. I went back to the existing manufacturers and just said, look, we're seeing this issue. What are your thoughts? Can we do something about it? These flashings are failing in the field. Can we look into how to improve, in particular, 2 failure points? And I thought that would be a good way to start a conversation and see if we can help them develop a better product for us to use. But it didn't quite go that way. What we got back was denial. Well, we don't believe there's an issue. We've been doing it this way for 40 years and it works just fine. These are the answers I got back from all of them. And honestly, it just, to a point, it felt like they were gaslighting me because we were seeing the failures. We were sending them photos and videos from site. We were standing on the roofs with the client, with the hose, just showing them what's going on. But the response was basically, that's not happening. And that, or the best one was, that's a bad batch of silicon. That only happened the once. Until I showed them outliers a year before, a year after, 2 years before. So denying what we showed them, and then they go, oh, well, you've got to take it off the roof, you've got to bring it back to us so that we can test it. Now, for a phone or something that might work, that's doable, but a skylight, you can't really just take it off, say to the owners, I'll be back in a few days with this skylight. And while they go and inspect it and then say there's nothing wrong with it. The best they're going to give us is a new skylight. No one's going to pay for the installation to de-installation and then reinstallation afterwards. And they've got very good warranty terms to cover themselves for that. But I think behind it, that response, it told me something. The issue wasn't just the flashing. The issue was that the people making the flashing, they really didn't care. It was profit over people. And they never wanted to look at what was really happening. They never wanted to change anything. They just wanted to do what they did and kept doing it. We offered suggestions and we talked about it's completely seam welding, and we're just told flat out it can't be done. I think it was the lack of care for the end user, the lack of curiosity to find something outside what's already been done that made me question things. And once you've seen a problem clearly, you can't unsee it. And I didn't feel comfortable continuing to install these skylight flashings knowing the issues that we're seeing. At the time, the company were doing around 2,000 installs a year. And I couldn't keep putting something on the roof that just because that's the way it's always been done. What we did was we basically set out to achieve the impossible. The industry said welded flashings could not be done. I just wanted to know why. I've got a very curious brain. If there was a way, I wanted to find out what it was. That's the real start of Luxweld, not a marketing idea. It was a challenge. Someone saying it's impossible. Could we create a skylight flashing that outlasted the existing products? Could we remove the weak points instead of just patching them and covering them up? Could we build something for the life of the home, not just some that scraped through a warranty period and had unspoken hidden defects? And to do that, we needed the right people, because every manufacturer I went to said it couldn't be done. One of the key pivotal people in the original design was a young engineer named Dave Gardner. Now, Dave brought some serious engineering and product development experience to the table. This bloke was just a brain. He had he was a key member in RoboHelix, doing all robotic and patent work, helping take Australian technology to international markets. In his spare time, he chaired an engineering board. So he had experience across a whole broad range of manufacturing, management, operational, engineering, advisory work. So he didn't look at this from a skylight or flashing problem. He came at it from an engineering problem, a materials problem, a manufacturing issue, and a product that had to be designed properly from the start. So we deconstructed everything that was already there. And that mattered because we weren't trying to make something slightly better, a version of the old thing. We wanted to try and do the thing the industry said it could not be done. And we also had another person involved who had been installing skylights since 1986. And you'll meet him in a later episode, but his experience was also huge because he had the practical knowledge. He'd seen decades of skylight systems. Changes in weather patterns, site conditions, storms galore, product changes, and he'd seen the failures in the 40 years, the repairs and the challenges for an installer. He also knew the difference between something that sounds good in theory and something that actually works once it's in the roof or on the roof. The combination became really important. Engineering experience, product development experience, and decades of practical skylight knowledge. And that's, I guess, when the research really started. We looked into different materials. What would hold up long term? What would resist corrosion? What could work in coastal areas? What could work in bushfires areas? What can be welded properly? What can only be spot welded? What could handle heat, rain, movement and time? Then we looked at different welding technologies, different methods, different processes for different metals, and newer ways of joining materials as well. Ways to create strength without relying on silicon, basically. We want to eliminate these weak points. Ways to make the flashing arrive as one proper system and not a collection of parts that had to be patched together on site. And we looked at also different coating processes. We looked at how the product would be manufactured, how it could be handled, and in that handling process, was it robust enough to be, thrown off a truck, dropped off a roof? How would it be installed? And most importantly, how it would perform years later? Because that was the whole point. We weren't trying to build the easiest product to manufacture, which is what I found out most other people have done. We were trying to build the product that we wished existed for the installer, for the homeowner, for the builder, for the end user. A product we feel comfortable putting on someone's home, a product a builder could trust after handover. And part of that journey took us to Japan. You see, in Australia, there are standards for acceptable defect rates for manufactured products. And for many products, that sits around 2%. In Japan, they say it's a big problem if that defect rate has any less than 3 zeros in front of it. So we're talking like 0.0002% is a big concern for them. They build with a different mindset, different respect. They have respect for the builder, the homeowner, the installer, the end user, and they're known globally for their products, that they are made to last, that once it's fitted for life, for the next generation. And also in Japan, they deal with extremes, a bit like Australia, extreme heat. They got ice, they got monsoons, so they got the big rains and big temperature swings over short times. So if there's a shortcut, weather finds it, and we wanted to see how they deal with that, because weather is unforgiving. And if water management in heavy rain isn't right, it'll find it. I think the biggest thing about Japan wasn't just the technical, it was the mindset, how they build it for the next generation. That idea really stayed with me. Not built to scrape through just the warranty period or the handover, but to build it properly. Once someone touches it, how do we do it so nobody has to touch it again? And built with respect. I believe people are made in the image of God and therefore have intrinsic value, and people matter. So building something that matters, that it will last once it's on their roof. That became part of our Luxweld philosophy, because we believe people matter. The builders who warrant the whole jobs, the homeowners that live in the job for years to come, the trades that are installing the job, the people living under the roof or that move into that roof years later. And if a product can be made stronger, better, longer lasting, then that's the standard we should be chasing. Not a profit margin. That shouldn't be your final decision maker in a manufacturing process. It should be people. So every part of Luxweld flashing system was shaped by that thinking. A one-piece welded construction, no silicon joins in the flashing, made to suit the roof profile, built with better materials and better processes, designed to remove the old weak points rather than trying to patch over them. And the funny thing is, that's exactly what we were told we couldn't do. But we found out it could be done. It just needed people willing to question the old answer. It needed new engineering, new thoughts. It needed site knowledge. It needed testing. And it needed better materials to create it. It needed, I guess, a complete different mindset. And that's what Luxweld became. It came from this idea of how do we overcome a product built out of frustration, yes, but also out of responsibility. Because once you know a problem exists, you've got two choices. You can keep doing what everyone else is doing. Wash over it, ensure your terms and conditions cover yourself and the company, and then even gaslight people. Or you can try and build something better. And we chose to build something better, something that lasts. We wanted to create something that doesn't rely on the same old band-aids, patch fixes, and something that gives builders a better standard to work to and eliminates their liability, something that respects the people who live under that roof and under that skylight. So if you're a builder, an architect, construction manager, this is the point I want to leave you with. Don't accept that's how we've always done it as a good enough reason. Don't accept a low bar. Don't accept a weak detail just because someone says, well, it works fine, it'll get us through the warranty period. Look at what your skylight flashing relies on. Look at what it's made from. Look at whether it's designed to last or just designed to get through the warranty period. And this applies across all products and aspects of building. Are we building it only for profit, or are we building it for the next generation? Be the change you want to see. At Luxweld, we help builders review their current flashing standards and find a better way before the problem ends up on your defect list. Because skylights, they don't need more band-aids. They need better products. Products that are built to last. Products that respect the people installing, building, and owning them. Products built with care. Products built because people do matter.